So just full commit from there.
All right, I believe Orange Shirt had the next one. Yeah.
Well, my question, like, there's a lot of people in this room.
Yeah.
So I suppose my question is, how should somebody who's just starting out deal with the pressure of how competitive this industry seems to be?
That's a good question.
It's so easy for people to feel like they should just give up because, oh, I'm not as competitive as everybody else. I'm not constantly working to try to find something every hour, every day.
That's
Then
a
you feel like
really
you
good
can't do
question.
that. It feels like you should just quit.
Yeah.
So what do you do in a situation like that?
Part of that is a shift in your mental mindset about what this industry truly is. This industry is all about casting the right voice for the right role. And yes, sometimes miscasts happen. We've all heard it where you're just like, really? That's the voice you wanted that character to have? Okay, well, who am I to argue with the voice director, right? But it's not about competition. You're not competing with other actors. It's not about being able to beat out someone else in a contest for who can get roles and the most roles. The challenge is finding the role that's right for you. It's actually about finding that role and not being able to get stuck in that pit where you feel like you're not measuring up to other people. Because that's not a fair yardstick either. I can't compare to Mike. I can't compare to literally anyone else in this room because we all have our own voices that we bring to the table and no one else has the same voice as anyone else. We can all work at impressions and I can maybe start doing a Mickey Mouse, but that's not my voice. That's not the unique voice that I bring. But where do I fit? Where does my voice sound great at?
And the other thing to add is one of the things you can do, especially when you're going through your training and development and such, or even is make friends with your fellow actors and performers that are working their way up at the same level as you. Because you can form little networks with each other where you can help each other out, look for gigs, look for auditions, send each other your auditions. Hey, what do you think? Kind of thing. Like Nancy and I send each other like when we find audition notices that we think the other would be great in, we send them to each other. Because you want to support each other, you want to find a team, and you want to work together. Because you can all succeed together as a group in that way. You don't have to fight it alone.
I think literally there was one time where Mike sent me an audition, I said, not that voice. not that voice. And if you really want to demonstrate it for everyone in this room, you can. I give you permission.
Give me permission.
I give you permission this time. I am mentally prepared for this voice this time.
Yeah, but you know it's coming, so it's all right. Anyway.
You see, everyone, we are here today to talk about the voice acting in general and how it works in this great land of Canada.
And he sent me an audition with that voice, and I said, hilarious, but probably not that one. Not that tape, please.
But yeah, it's a voice that I developed for a role in a video game kind of thing. It didn't end up working out for that one, but it ended up getting into another one, so... well,
Every bad impression is a new voice for you.
yeah, and that's it, is keep practicing, keep working on the repertoire, as long as you can deliver the emotional range regardless of the voice. It can be something that can be a future role or payday, depending on your viewpoint.
Yeah, absolutely. Good question. Thank you for bringing that up. Yellow shirt, and then I know there's a Miku back there, but I also saw a hand go up around here. Yes, you. Okay, so yellow shirt first.
Okay, so if you don't live in an area that has like a professional studio to go and record, so you have to record at home, what would you say is like the single most important piece of equipment or
Sound
like
treatment. 100% sound treatment. Do not go out and buy an expensive microphone yet. That is not the thing. That is not the play. The smartest big brain play you can do is make your current recording space sound really good. So do you have a walk-in closet?
I don't.
Do you have a small nook that you can stuff full of pillows and make a blanket for it?
Kind of.
Make yourself a blanket fort. I won so many auditions from a blanket fort. My story about recording in Tokyo in a little apartment is proof of that. If you can at least make the space sound halfway decent, your phone is a perfectly good microphone. Like, our phones actually have really good microphones in them.
Please talk to me afterward, I got a tip for you.
There you go. Hey, do you know anyone who's got good bass traps? Because I'm looking for a bass trap. Damn. Next time.
Yeah.
Next.
Yeah, the thing is that when you're like, once you're ready to graduate from the phone kind of thing, like usually the next step is a USB microphone. You can go out, they're relatively inexpensive, usually about the 100 to 300 range, give or take. It's when you start getting into the XLR or external line return mics, which are like the studio grade, that's when you can get into like the $500 to $5,000 range.
And that's because those microphones are so sensitive, they will pick up everything.
Yeah.
You want to start getting a soundproofed area once you start having a condenser. But until then, guess what? Blanket forts, they work great.
Yeah. And a lot of the time, like in Canada, or at least in Calgary and area, we have Long and McQuaid is a good place to go. You can always wait for sales. They always have
Black
like
Friday.
Black Friday, Boxing Day sales, always a good time. Before a certain somebody got into office down in the previous country, there's a company called Sweetwater, which was a nice American one that I managed to get some really killer deals around.
Support local.
Yeah,
Support local.
it's just nowadays support local.
Reverb.com.
Reverb.com
Yeah.
as a resource for anyone taking notes.
Miku.
So my question is more of like an advice ask. I recently got into, well, I've always been into voice acting for quite a while, but I was thrust into it when my mutual who does animation asked me to do a job for them. Afterwards, when I did send it to them, they only then let me know that, hey, this is AI art. And I was
Oh,
like,
that is not
okay,
cool.
I don't want to be affiliated with this. Is it okay if you just put me down as anonymous because I don't want to be like part of this thing? I guess my question is like, what would you say to somebody who was kind of burned by the experience and is like more so discouraged but still wanting to do it?
So first off, sorry to hear that about the AI thing.
I have so many thoughts, but I'm gonna let Mike go first.
Generally, nowadays, it's always important to get things in writing, get contracts. There is a rider out there called the NAVA, N-A-V-A rider, that if a contract doesn't have that, you can reach out to the client and say, would you be willing to add this to your thing? Because it gives you protections versus AI. If they are not willing to do that, that should be a clear indicator that that is a problem and you may want to reconsider being a part of the project. Most of these places are pretty open to it nowadays. Whether you use the NAVA rider or you have your own kind of thing, because there's a lot of game companies and producers out there that don't want to be associated, they still want to use real people and such, because the main thing about the AI stuff that a lot of these people in places have found out really quickly is you can't copyright any of it. So it's super open grabs to be stolen. So for a lot of places found out really quick on that, and a lot of them shifted away from AI as a result of that.
For you specifically, because of that situation, I would say that is a conversation worth having with a friend in a safe space about how that was a violation of your rights. The other thing too is that you should be reaching out to that project and saying you're rescinding any and all voice work you've done for them because you do not want it to be in an AI project. Not only do you not want to be associated with it, but hear me out, you don't want your voice to have been fed into something, right? So if you withdraw their ability to use that, then they have to respect it, or this starts getting very litigious. Your thing about the AI writer is spot on. You can usually tell good projects when they come with an AI writer already. It's already in the contract. There's already pieces of it that say, you give us the rights to use your voice and like recordings of your voice for these things except being fed into an AI or into machine learning for the purposes of duplicating your voice. Things like that. But yeah, I'm so sorry that happened. And I really hope that you're able to have the conversations you need to have. If you can't, please reach out to us. We can help you through some of that.
Yeah. I was wondering if there's like a way to like, you know, like get back into it without feeling like super scared that something terrible happening.
One of my favorite people, Bayfar, likes to say, embrace your mistakes because you learn the most from them. And I think this is definitely one of those situations where you realize you have made a mistake, and going forward, you're going to be a lot more careful about it. You're going to watch out for things like, is this going to be used for AI? And if it's not explicitly stated as no, it's not, then you should be asking those questions. I've gotten a lot of, roles where they say, congrats, you got a role. And then I'm like, okay, but where's the paperwork? Do you cover these things that I'm worried about? What actual, another red flag for you, if they don't actually tell you what rate they're paying you, you definitely want to have that conversation early. If you're just like, oh yeah, we hired you, that's great, haha, show up for recording. How much are you paying me? Like what are the terms of this employment?
Yeah, just as a quick note before we move on to the next question. So at Merco, our contracts literally have anti-AI clauses in them like 3 times to cover every single possibility of the language, including threatening legal action on clients that would dare break it. So we got you covered.
Yeah, but please reach out if you need help.
Thank you.
Our lovely friend here.
I was wondering if, just with following that thread of AI, would getting an agent help with that as well? Or is that not required as long as you have like paperwork and stuff that keeps it like legally binding?
So an agent, the upside of them is in the sense because they're looking for work for you kind of thing, they should have already vetted it before you even see the audition notice. If they haven't for some reason, fire your agent kind of thing. The other thing too is like I said, the downside in Canadian agents right now is they're a little more film focused, so there's more push in that direction. But if you're willing to do film and voiceover, all to the better kind of thing. Not that you have to, but just it's an option. But yeah, the other thing is always watch out for agents. You do not pay them until they get you work kind of thing. If they ask for money in any way, shape, or form before you've done any work, fire them kind of thing. If you get work yourself and your agent without your agent and they come and say, hey, I want a cut of your money, fire them. To be blunt.
Going back to the statistic from earlier about how many voice actors don't have an agent, what I'm hearing a lot from my friends in the industry is that agents are great for if you don't like doing your own paperwork. So if that's something that you desperately want to offload to someone and you're okay giving them a 20% cut of what you make on that job, then by all means work with an experienced agent who does the paperwork. However, if you are not scared of doing a little bit of paperwork and reading a lot of contractual terms and clauses, you're perfectly fine doing it as long as you're willing to put that effort in.
Yeah, and if you go on to like ACTRA's Alberta website, for those at least local, they do have like a list of like reputable agencies. So you can always click on them. Some of them will require you to do an audition to be part of the roster, but they're not going to ask you for money. They're not going to screw you over, kind of thing. Because the union has backed it, if for some reason they decided to go against that, you could just literally report them to the union, kind of thing, and they would lose their status, which would be enormously punishing for them.
All right, I think it's your turn to choose hands because I see so many hands and I'm getting anxious about not getting to everyone's question.
With the white horns, her hands been
So I see horns.
I know I'll never be the same. Shook my world so hard again. Wish I washed away my sins. He's a dead man walking, blank stare in his eyes. Should've given up on the ones I trust. Never should have been surprised when they shot